Imagine entering a fancy restaurant where everything seems perfect until something unexpected happens. A group of wealthy women decides to humiliate a simple black waitress without imagining what was to come. What would you do if you were in her place? Well, what this waitress did left everyone speechless and proved that appearances can be deceiving. Get ready, because this story is not just about prejudice, it's about courage, overcoming obstacles, and a twist that will leave you amazed. You know that chill down your spine when something big is about to happen? Well, pay attention, because what you're about to discover will surprise you. The restaurant's light was intense and dazzling, reflecting off the elegantly set tables covered with white tablecloths and shiny cutlery. The sound of laughter and lively conversations filled the room, but I knew I wasn't part of the joy emanating from that place. As I walked between the tables balancing trays loaded with exquisite dishes, I felt the client's eyes on me as if I were a decoration, something that didn't deserve attention. However, I couldn't let it get to me. Smiling was my shield, and I used it masterfully. "Look at that waitress, it seems she can't even keep the plate steady," one of the women at a nearby table commented, laughing loudly. The group of women, all wearing designer clothes and sparkling jewelry, joined in the laughter as if I were the punchline of a joke. Heat rose to my face, but I kept the smile, a mask that hid the anger and humiliation pulsing in my chest. "You should see her house, I bet it's as messy as her hands," another woman shot back as she handed me an empty glass with a look of disdain. I took a deep breath, trying to ignore the words that seemed as sharp as knives. They weren't just despicable comments, they were a constant reminder that to them, I was inferior, a mere waitress with nothing to offer beyond service. "Of course, ma'am, I'll bring more water right away," I replied, my voice firm even though my heart was in turmoil. Those wealthy women knew nothing about me, my life, or the battles I fought every day. They saw only the color of my skin and the uniform I wore. To them, I wasn't a woman of value, just a shadow passing quickly through the flashes of their lives. After a long shift, I finally allowed myself a moment of relief as I left the restaurant. The city lights seemed softer, as if the night wanted to embrace me. Clara, my childhood friend, was waiting outside, leaning on her bicycle with a warm smile on her face. She had always been a ray of sunshine in my life, and seeing her made a part of me relax. "Hey Lou, how was today?" Clara asked as I approached, her voice a familiar melody that made me feel a little lighter. "Oh, you know how it is, just another day." "I survived," I replied, trying to hide the frustration still burning in my chest. Clara always knew how I felt, but I didn't want her to carry the weight of my burdens. "You need to stop letting them affect you. You're better than that," Clara said with the determination of someone who truly believes in the words they speak. I admired her confidence, but I knew it was easier said than done. "I know, but it's hard, Clara. Sometimes I feel so trapped, like my circumstances are chains holding me to this place," I sighed, feeling the frustration slip through my words. "I just want something more, something that makes me feel alive. Luana, listen, you have an incredible talent. Remember your paintings? You've always had that gift. Why not try to dedicate more to it?" Clara suggested, her voice full of enthusiasm. The sparkle in her eyes was contagious, but at the same time, a reminder of my own hesitation. "You know I don't have time for that. Work takes up most of my day, and when I get home, I'm exhausted," I protested, but a part of me wished to believe there could be a way out, a way to escape that suffocating routine. "Then start slowly. Dedicate a few minutes a day, even if it's just to doodle something. You need to do something that makes you happy," Clara insisted, and although her encouragement was sweet, doubt still lined my heart. What did I really want, and what if I failed again? That night, upon returning home, I plunged into deep silence. The house was dark and empty, a solitude that often accompanied me. The smell of paint and paper enveloped me as I entered my small room, where I kept an old box that belonged to my mother. It was a reliquary of memories I had avoided exploring. With trembling hands, I opened the box and found yellowed newspaper clippings, old photos, and some of her works. My mother, a renowned artist who had left this world when I was still a child, left me a legacy I barely understood. I looked at a photograph of her smiling with a brush in hand, her expression one of pure joy, the same joy I longed to find within myself. "You were so strong, Mom. Why didn't I inherit that strength?" I murmured to the photo, feeling the weight of her absence. The talent she possessed seemed like a burden I didn't know how to carry. As I examined the newspaper clippings, an article caught my attention. It wrote about an exhibition my mother had participated in and how her works were an inspiration to many. I always knew she was talented, but seeing the words of admiration printed on paper made me feel a mix of pride and sadness. What had I done with my own life? Tears streamed down my face as I remembered her stories, the nights she would tell me about her dreams and struggles. "I don't want you to be afraid of the world, Luana. You're capable of incredible things," her voice echoed in my mind like a mantra of encouragement I needed so much. With the box open before me, I realized there was a part of me that had always been there, waiting to be discovered. The images of my mother, the memories of her struggles and achievements, were calling to me. I wished she were there, guiding me, telling me I was capable too. But now it was my responsibility to honor her legacy. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath, feeling a new determination grow within me. The city outside continued to pulse with life, and I could no longer allow myself to be a mere spectator. From that moment on, I knew I needed to find my voice, my art, and maybe, just maybe, I could break free from the chains that held me. I woke up that morning with a sense of restlessness. The sun streamed through the window of my small apartment, illuminating the pile of painting materials I had set aside, almost as if they were calling to me. It was time for a change, I knew that. After so many days of hearing disdainful comments and looks of contempt at the restaurant, I felt I needed to find a way to express everything inside me. The art that had once been my passion was now a distant memory, suffocated by the weight of daily life. As I prepared my coffee, my gaze settled on the box containing my mother's memories. Her photos, full of life and energy, were a constant reminder of what I could be. Her strength pulsed in every painting, in every smile captured in a portrait. With a deep sigh, I decided it was time to rediscover that part of me. After coffee, I went to the small corner where I had set up my makeshift studio. The table was covered with brushes, paints, and blank canvases that seemed to be eagerly waiting for me. "Let's go, Luana," I murmured to myself as I picked up a brush and dipped it in blue paint. The first stroke was hesitant, but as soon as the color spread across the canvas, a wave of energy coursed through me. It was as if I was releasing all the accumulated frustrations. I painted for hours, diving into a world where there were no judgments, only the freedom to be who I really was. With each new layer of paint, I felt the pressure of the restaurant and the wealthy women dissipate. I was creating something that was uniquely mine. When I looked at the canvas, I saw that I had begun to capture the essence of my childhood, the memories of my mother, and the strength that always accompanied her. At that moment, Clara appeared at the door. "Wow, Luana, you're really dedicating yourself to painting, huh?" She entered, her eyes shining with admiration. "Can I join you? I feel like I need some of that creative energy." "Of course, come on in," I smiled, happy to have her company. Clara had always been a source of support, someone who understood what I faced. "I'm trying to rediscover my passion for art." She approached the canvas and fell silent for a moment. "This is beautiful, Luana. You should participate in that local art competition. It's a great opportunity to showcase your talent." The idea made me nervous. "Competition? I don't know, Clara. What if I'm not good enough? The people there are so different." Insecurity tightened my chest. I didn't want to be exposed to ridicule. "Hey, don't think like that. You have a gift, and if you don't try, you'll never know. Think of your mother, she always believed in you," Clara encouraged, touching my arm gently. You need to do this for yourself, and who knows, it might be the first step toward the change you so desire. Those words resonated within me. I remembered my mother and her aspirations. She always wanted me to follow in her footsteps, to find my own voice through art. You're right, Clara. I'll think about it. After Clara said goodbye, I returned to the canvas. The sunlight was already beginning to set, and the room was bathed in a golden hue. I felt a determination growing within me, a flame that didn't want to be extinguished. If I wanted to change my life, I needed to take action. The next day, while serving tables at the restaurant, the atmosphere was heavy. The clients, mostly wealthy women, continued to treat me as if I were invisible. I did my job, but the cutting words still echoed in my mind. The arrogant Mariana, one of the most frequent and cruel clients, was at one of the tables. Her eyes met mine, and in an instant, a sarcastic smile formed on her face. Look who's here, the table artist. I hope you brought your talent to the service, she shot, laughing to her friends. The other women joined her, laughing as if I were a joke. I felt a wave of contained anger rising, but I took a deep breath. Good afternoon, ladies. What can I bring you? I tried to maintain my composure, even though my heart was racing. A future, maybe, Mariana continued, with a glint of malice in her eyes. You know, Luana, have you ever thought about giving up the dream of being an artist? A life of misery seems more fitting for you. Her words cut like a knife, it was hard not to let it affect me. As I walked away, anger simmered inside me. I won't let this get me down, I thought. One day, you'll see. That night, upon returning home, I looked again at the box of memories. It was full of clippings, photos, and letters that connected me to my mother and her artistic journey. What I saw wasn't just a story of struggle, but a celebration of strength and resilience. I needed to remember that, to remember who I was and what I was capable of. I picked up my brush and returned to the canvas. Each stroke now carried the anger that Mariana had awakened in me, transformed into motivation. I was determined to stand out, not just for myself, but for all those who had been underestimated and devalued. Art would be my cry for freedom. As the paint dried, I looked out the window at the vibrant city lights that never slept. I knew the competition was approaching and that if I wanted to participate, would have to prepare. But more importantly, I knew I had to believe in myself. The journey was just beginning, and I was ready to face it with all my strength. The morning light streamed through the window of my small apartment, dancing on the white walls as if calling me to a new beginning. I was determined not to let the restaurant's humiliations dominate me. With a nervous smile, I picked up the brushes and paints I had bought at the corner store. The smell of paint filled me with courage. It was time to dive into my own story, into my own art. The soft music of an artist I admired played in the background as I began to work. The blank canvas before me seemed intimidating, but I knew it was my chance to capture the essence of my childhood, the strength my mother had passed on to me. With each stroke, I felt her memories flowing through me. I remembered how she used to teach me to look at the world through the eyes of art, to see beauty where others saw only banality. Luana, are you here? Clara's voice echoed through the half-open door. I smiled, knowing she was always a source of support and encouragement. I'm here, come see what I'm doing, I called back, holding the brush a little tighter. She entered, observing the canvas as I drew the silhouettes of a girl and her mother, surrounded by flowers representing dreams that seemed unattainable. Wow, Luana, this is amazing, Clara exclaimed, her eyes shining with admiration. You really have an incredible talent. Thank you, Clara. It's just the beginning. I need to capture her essence, the strength she had. Art was everything to her, I replied, a lump forming in my throat as I remembered my mother. You'll rock the competition, I'm sure. And if that Mariana shows up, I'll handle her, Clara said, her tone becoming more serious. "I don't want more fights, Clara. I just want to show my art and prove I'm more than she thinks," I responded, determined. The conversation flowed to other topics as we drank juice and reminisced about childhood moments. The lightness of Clara's presence was a balm for the wounds that still hurt. However, when the day of the exhibition arrived, nervousness began to take hold of me again. The hall was crowded, with elegantly dressed men and women circulating, admiring the works on display. I looked around, feeling a mix of anxiety and excitement. My painting was there, prominently displayed, and I wanted everyone to feel the energy I had put into it. When it was finally time to present my work, my heart raced. I stepped onto the small improvised stage, holding the microphone with trembling hands. "Hello, everyone, my name is Luana, and this is my work," I began, trying to keep my voice steady. I spoke about my mother, her struggles and achievements, and how she inspired me to keep going even when the world seemed against me. With each word, I felt I was freeing myself from a weight. Clara's supportive gaze in the audience gave me strength. The presentation was well received. I was beginning to relax when suddenly I saw Mariana approaching. My heart stopped for a moment. She was alone, but there was a glint in her eyes I couldn't decipher. "Luana, can I talk to you?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Of course, Mariana. What do you want?" I replied, trying to hide my surprise. She hesitated, looking around before continuing. "I just wanted to say that your painting is beautiful, truly touching," she said, the sincerity in her voice catching me off guard. "Thank you," I replied, still cautious. "It means a lot to me." Mariana took a deep breath, as if preparing for something significant. "You know, I'm also the daughter of an artist. My mother was a famous painter. I never managed to follow in her footsteps. I was always afraid of not being good enough." I remained silent, absorbing her words. Her vulnerability was something I didn't expect. "Why did you never try if it's something you love?" "Because I let the fear of failure stop me. And when you won the competition, I was so furious. It wasn't just about you, but about myself. I couldn't do what you did," Mariana admitted, tears in her eyes. I watched her, realizing that behind the arrogance and provocations was a woman also struggling with her insecurities. "Mariana, you don't need to define yourself by what your mother did or didn't do. You can create your own story," I said, feeling a surge of empathy. She seemed to hesitate, but then her gaze fixed on mine. "Do you really think so? That I could be an artist too?" "Yes, I believe that. We all have the ability to create something beautiful. You just need to believe in yourself," I replied, feeling a wave of inspiration. At that moment, a mysterious figure appeared between us, interrupting the conversation. It was a tall man with a penetrating gaze. "Luana," he called, making my heart race. "Yes?" I replied, confused. "We need to talk. There's something you need to know about your mother," he said, his voice grave and serious. The atmosphere changed instantly. Mariana and I exchanged incredulous looks. The tension in the air was palpable. What could this man reveal that would change everything? The future seemed uncertain, and the feeling that my life was about to take an unexpected turn left me speechless. "Please, follow me," he insisted, and I found myself faced with a choice I never imagined having to make. That night, after so many internal struggles and emotional battles, Luana finally understood that her worth did not depend on others' approval, nor even on her mother's legacy. The art competition became a symbol not of victory over others, but of personal achievement. When Clara said goodbye, leaving Luana alone with her thoughts, she approached the canvas that was now slowly drying, reflecting the city's lights. There, Luana saw not only the brushstrokes of color and life but also the reflection of the woman she was becoming, strong, independent, and above all, free from the chains of the past. In the days that followed, the revelation of Luana's past came to light as expected, but instead of hiding, she chose to face it with courage and dignity. Luana shared her story with the public, revealing her insecurities, her struggles, and most importantly, her strength to overcome it all. By doing so, she turned what could have been a scandal into a story of overcoming and inspiration. Mariana, who for so long tried to bring her down, was left speechless in the face of Luana's strength. The truth is that deep down, we all carry scars and stories that shape who we are. And Luana, with her art and her courage, showed the world that the past can be transformed into something beautiful and meaningful. In the end, it wasn't just Luana who emerged victorious in that competition, but also all the people who were touched by her story. Over time, her art came to be recognized not only for its technical quality but also for the emotional depth it carried. She had finally found her voice, and the world was ready to listen to it. As the paint dried on her latest work, Luana smiled. For the first time, she felt complete. The future was still uncertain, but she knew that regardless of what lay ahead, she was ready to face it head-on. After all, she was not just a daughter or an artist, she was a woman who had found herself and was willing to shine. If this story touched your heart or made you reflect, don't forget to support our work. Leave your like, share this video with your friends and family, and help spread this powerful message about overcoming, courage, and empathy. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to not miss our upcoming inspiring and emotional stories. We have much more content coming, full of life lessons that will motivate you and make you think differently. Each like, comment, and share makes all the difference for us and this incredible community we are building together. Let's embark on this journey of reflection and growth, and remember, the true power lies in how we choose to transform our challenges into strength. See you in the next story.